What if I told you that buried in ancient archives lies a letter so explosive, so detailed, that it could change everything you thought you knew about the most pivotal moment in human history? Picture this. A Roman governor, trembling as he writes to the most powerful man on earth, the emperor himself. His hands shake not from fear of Caesar, but from what he has just witnessed. The crucifixion of an innocent man. The sky turning black at midday. The dead rising from their graves. This isn't fiction. This isn't myth. This is the actual testimony of Pontius Pilate, the man who condemned Jesus Christ to death, writing to Emperor Tiberius about miracles, resurrection, and an encounter that left him questioning everything he believed about gods and men. Today, we're diving deep into one of history's most controversial documents, the letter of Pontius Pilate to Caesar. And what it reveals about Jesus will leave you speechless. You've heard the name Pontius Pilate countless times, the man who washed his hands with Jesus' blood. But what you haven't heard is what happened after the crucifixion. What you haven't heard is how this experience haunted him so deeply that he felt compelled to write a detailed report to the Roman emperor. This isn't just any letter. This is an official Roman government document. A provincial governor reporting to his superior about events that defied all logic and reason. Listen to how Pilate begins his letter to Caesar.
There has appeared in these our days a man of great virtue named Jesus Christ, who is yet living among us, and of the Gentiles is accepted as a prophet of truth, but his own disciples call him the Son of God. He raised the dead and cured all manner of diseases.
Stop right there. Did you catch that? Pilate, a Roman official, a skeptic, a politician, is telling the emperor that this man Jesus raised the dead. He's stating it as fact, not rumor, not hearsay. Fact. But it gets even more incredible. What did Jesus actually look like? For 2,000 years, artists have imagined. Theologians have speculated. But here, we have an eyewitness account from someone who saw him face to face. Pilate describes Jesus in extraordinary detail.
A man of stature, somewhat tall and comely, with a very reverend countenance, such as the beholders may both love and fear. His hair of the colour of a chestnut, full ripe, plain to his ears, whence downward it is more orient and curling, wavering about his shoulders.
But here's where it gets fascinating. Pilate continues.
His forehead plain and very delicate, his face without spot or wrinkle, beautified with a lovely red, his nose and mouth so formed as nothing can be reprehended, his beard thickish in colour like his hair, not very long but forked.
Think about this for a moment. Pilate is describing Jesus with the precision of a police report. Why? Because in ancient times, without photographs, detailed physical descriptions were crucial for identification. This wasn't casual observation. This was official documentation. But perhaps the most striking detail comes next.
His eyes grey, clear and quick. In reproving he is terrible, in admonishing courteous and fair-spoken, pleasant in conversation, mixed with gravity. It cannot be remembered that any have seen him laugh, but many have seen him weep.
Can you imagine? The Son of God, described by his judge as having eyes that were both terrible in reproving and yet courteous in conversation. A man who wept but was never seen to laugh. The weight of humanity's sins was already visible in his countenance. But why did Pilate write this letter? The answer reveals a political situation far more precarious than most people realize. Pilate confesses to Caesar.
It seemed to me, of all conquered cities, Jerusalem was the most difficult to govern. So turbulent were the people that I lived in momentary dread of an insurrection. To suppress it, I had but a single centurion and a handful of soldiers.
Picture this, the most volatile city in the Roman Empire, defended by one centurion and a few soldiers. Pilate was sitting on a powder keg with almost no military support. This changes everything about the crucifixion narrative. Pilate wasn't just washing his hands of an innocent man's blood. He was making a calculated political decision to prevent a full-scale rebellion that he had no resources to stop. He writes,
I requested reinforcement from the prefect of Syria, who informed me that he had scarcely troops sufficient to defend his own province.
Now we understand why Pilate caved to the pressure of the religious leaders. It wasn't just weakness. It was political survival with potentially thousands of lives hanging in the balance. But here's what makes this even more compelling. Pilate had been watching Jesus for a long time before the trial. He describes their first encounter.
One day, in passing by the place of Salom, where there was a great concourse of people, I observed in the midst of the group a young man who was leaning against a tree, calmly addressing the multitude. I was told it was Jesus.
Pilate was struck by Jesus' appearance.
His golden-colored hair and beard gave to his appearance a celestial aspect. He appeared to be about 30 years of age. Never have I seen a sweeter or more serene countenance.
Like any good administrator, Pilate sent his secretary, Manilius, to gather intelligence on this mysterious teacher. What came back amazed him.
Never have I heard in the works of all the philosophers anything that can compare to the maxims of Jesus.
The quote that sealed it: when rebellious Jews asked Jesus if it was lawful to pay tribute to Caesar, Jesus replied,
"Render unto Caesar the things which belong to Caesar, and unto God the things that are God's."
This wasn't just wisdom, this was political genius. With one statement, Jesus diffused a trap while establishing a principle that would influence governance for millennia. Based on this wisdom, Pilate made a remarkable decision.
It was on account of the wisdom of this saying that I granted so much liberty to the Nazarene, for it was in my power to have him arrested and exiled to Pontus, but this would have been contrary to the justice which has always characterized the Romans.
For months, maybe years, Pilate protected Jesus from the religious authorities. Why? Because he found no sedition, no rebellion, only wisdom that impressed even Roman minds. But political pressure mounted. The religious leaders weren't backing down, and Pilate's resources were stretched thin. Finally, he made the decision that would haunt him forever.
Being too weak to suppress a sedition, I resolved upon adopting a measure that promised to establish the tranquility of the city without subjecting the praetorium to humiliating concession.
He sacrificed the innocent to maintain the peace. But what happened next defied all natural law.
In that very hour that he was crucified, there was darkness over all the world, the sun being darkened at midday, and the stars appearing in their brightness, and the moon, as if turned into blood, failed in her light.
But it doesn't end there.
The universe being thus darkened, the dead that lay in their graves rose and appeared unto many.
Imagine being Pontius Pilate in this moment. You've just executed what you believe to be an innocent man, and the very cosmos responds with supernatural phenomena. The dead are walking. The sun has gone dark.
No wonder, he writes, when my mind being troubled, I hastened to take water and wash my hands of the blood of this just person, the like of whom hath never been before.
But is this letter authentic? Can we trust these extraordinary claims? Here's where archaeology steps in. In 1961, archaeologists discovered the Pilate stone near Caesarea Maritima in Israel. This limestone inscription reads, "To the divine Augustus, this Tiberium, Pontius Pilate, prefect of Judea." This stone proves beyond doubt that Pontius Pilate was real, held the exact position described in the Gospels, and served during the reign of Tiberius, exactly when Jesus was crucified. The letter and the stone together create a powerful 1-2 punch of historical evidence. So what do we make of Pontius Pilate's letter to Caesar? Whether you view it as authentic historical documentation or an early Christian composition, its impact is undeniable. Here we have detailed testimony about Jesus Christ from the very man who condemned him to death. A testimony that includes physical descriptions found nowhere else in ancient literature, political context that explains the crucifixion, eyewitness accounts of supernatural events, official Roman acknowledgement of Jesus' wisdom and innocence. Pilate ends his letter haunted by his decision, troubled by what he witnessed, and forever changed by his encounter with the man he called this just person, the like of whom hath never been before. The question that faced Pilate 2,000 years ago is the same question that faces us today. What will you do with Jesus? A Roman governor washed his hands, but the blood of the innocent, as Pilate himself learned, lingers forever. Yet for those who believe, that same blood doesn't condemn, it cleanses. What's your verdict? Don't forget to like this video if it opened your eyes to something new, subscribe for more hidden histories, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Pilate's letter? Authentic historical document or early Christian literature? The debate continues.